God's timing is not our timing, but it's always perfect. That statement might challenge you when you're in the heat of waiting, battling discouragement, or standing in the ruins of what you thought would work out by now. But understand this, God doesn't operate on a human clock. He's not bound by deadlines, pressure, or panic. He's eternal. He sees what we cannot see. While we're fixated on the now, God is preparing the next. You might think He's late, but in His divine plan, He's right on time. There are doors He hasn't opened yet, not because He doesn't love you, but because what's behind them isn't ready. Or maybe you're not ready. Waiting is not punishment, it's preparation. God uses delay to develop character, shape humility, and build faith. So don't confuse silence with absence. Just because God hasn't moved publicly doesn't mean He's not working privately. Trust that the one who holds time in His hands hasn't forgotten your name or your purpose. Delays are not denials, they're divine redirection. Sometimes God blocks the road you want so He can lead you down the path you need. You wanted that job, that relationship, that opportunity, and when it fell through, you were crushed. But what if God was protecting you from a disaster you couldn't see coming? What if that closed door was actually mercy? We often get upset when life doesn't go according to plan. But rarely do we realize that our plan would have led us into places that would have broken us. God's no is just as holy as His yes. And every detour is a test of trust. Will you believe in Him when it doesn't make sense? Will you follow Him even when you don't understand? He's not just interested in giving you what you want. He's committed to giving you what you need, even if that means rerouting your journey. You don't have to fear divine detours. You just have to trust that the new road is still under God's control. Faith grows deepest in the darkest valleys. Anybody can believe when everything's going right. But real faith is forged when nothing makes sense and you still choose to believe. It's when the money runs out, when the support dries up, when you're standing alone with no explanation. Yet you whisper, God, I trust you. That's faith. That's power. The valley may be dark, but it's not void of God's presence. In fact, the valley is where God reveals Himself in ways you could never see on the mountaintop. It's in the valley where you realize that peace isn't about perfect circumstances. It's about the presence of God walking with you in the fire. You're not alone in the struggle. The God who made the mountain also made the valley, and He walks through both. He's not trying to break you in the dark. He's trying to build you. Don't curse your valley. It's the place where your roots grow deeper and your faith gets stronger. Every setback is a setup for a greater comeback. You didn't lose to stay down. You didn't fall to stay broken. God is a redeemer. He restores what was lost and resurrects what looked dead. The enemy wants you to believe it's over, but God says, watch what I do next. Just because you faced a setback doesn't mean your story is over. It means the author is still writing. That business that failed, that relationship that ended, that opportunity that crumbled. It's not your ending. It's the beginning of something more powerful. Sometimes God has to let things fall apart so He can rebuild you stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your purpose. Don't be afraid of starting over. The comeback is always greater than the setback when God is in charge of the restoration. Your pain isn't wasted. It's fertilizer for your future. So rise up, your comeback is already in motion. You may be tired, but you're not finished. Yes, it's hard. Yes, you've cried. Yes, you've wanted to give up. But the fact that you're still standing means the fight in you is stronger than the weight on you. Fatigue is real, but it's not fatal. Don't confuse tiredness with defeat. Even eagles have to rest before they rise again. You are allowed to pause, but you're not permitted to quit. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is take a breath, regroup, and remind yourself why you started. God didn't bring you this far to leave you, and He sure didn't bring you through that storm just to abandon you in the middle. You might be weary, but your destiny is still alive. Let your exhaustion push you toward God, not away from Him. In your weakness, His strength is made perfect. He will renew your strength if you wait on Him. God never starts something He doesn't intend to finish. When God begins a work in you, He completes it. You are not an abandoned project. You're a masterpiece in progress. God is still chiseling, still refining, still forming the purpose He placed in you before the foundation of the world. It might feel slow, it might seem messy, but the process is sacred. Every chapter of your life, good and bad, is being used by the master architect to build something eternal. Don't judge the story by one hard scene. The God who called you is faithful. He doesn't back out. He doesn't give up halfway. And He doesn't change His mind about you. You may have failed. You may have fallen, but you are not forgotten. God finishes what He starts, and you are still part of His plan. Breakthrough often comes after the breaking point. It's when you feel like you can't go any further, when you're at the edge of collapse, that heaven begins to move. That's not coincidence. That's divine design. God often waits until we're empty of self-reliance, so He can fill us with supernatural strength. The breaking is not the end. It's the beginning of something you couldn't reach on your own. Just because you're breaking doesn't mean you're being destroyed. Sometimes things have to break so God can rebuild them better. It's in the breaking that pride is shattered, ego is humbled, and dependence on God is born. Don't fear the breaking point. Embrace it. That's where miracles start. That's where chains fall. That's where prayers turn into testimonies. You are closer than you think. The pain you're feeling might just be the labor pains of your breakthrough. When people walk away, God steps in. Let them go. Not everyone is meant to stay in your life. Some people were only assigned to your story for a season, and when their time is up, clinging to them becomes a distraction. Rejection isn't always a curse. It can be a divine rescue. God will sometimes subtract so He can multiply. He will remove certain voices so you can hear His more clearly. Don't chase people who walked away from what God is doing in you. If they left, they weren't part of the promise. And if God let them go, He's got better ahead. Trust that what remains is what's meant to grow with you. Stop crying over who left. Start praising God for who stayed and for who's coming. God steps in with His presence, His power, and His provision when man steps out. You never lose what God ordained, only what wasn't tied to your future. Trusting God means walking even when you can't see the whole path. It's stepping forward with faith, even when fear is screaming louder. Faith is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. God doesn't show you the full map, because He wants you to depend on Him daily. If you saw everything in advance, you'd try to control it. But God leads step by step, moment by moment, so your faith can mature, and your relationship with Him can deepen. You may not know how it's going to work out, but you can trust who is working it out. Keep walking, keep believing. The way may be unclear, but the one who walks with you is not. He is the way, He is your shepherd, and He will not lead you into defeat. He is guiding you to victory, even when the terrain feels rough, and the direction feels uncertain. The enemy wants you to quit, because he knows what's coming if you don't. He knows the potential in you. He sees the breakthrough just ahead. That's why the pressure has increased. That's why the attacks have intensified. The enemy doesn't fight what's not a threat. You are dangerous to darkness when you decide to trust God through the storm. Every lie he throws at you is a desperate attempt to distract you from your purpose. Don't fall for it. Don't give in. The closer you get to the promise, the harder the enemy pushes. But push back harder, with prayer, with faith, with worship, with perseverance. You're not fighting for victory. You're fighting from a place of victory. Christ already won. So stand your ground, and don't let go of your calling. Winners are not the ones who never feel like quitting. They're the ones who trust God enough to keep going. Everyone gets tired. Everyone feels discouraged. But champions are made in the decision to keep walking when everything in them wants to stop. It's not about never feeling weak. It's about never giving up. God honors resilience. He blesses persistence. And when you trust Him enough to keep going, even when you're scared, hurt, or confused, heaven takes notice. You don't need to have superhuman strength. You just need to have unshakable faith. You just need to say, God, I'm trusting you with this next step, and then take it. That's how winners are born. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows of struggle, where they choose to keep walking with God. Your endurance is not wasted. It's building your strength and your story. Every time you got back up, every time you kept going through the tears, every time you worshiped through the worry, God saw, and He's using it. Your endurance is not invisible to heaven. It's being woven into the legacy of your life. You are becoming stronger, wiser, more compassionate, more faithful. You're being shaped by the very storms you thought would break you. This season won't last forever, but the strength it's giving you will. God is building a testimony out of your trials. People may never see the cost of your endurance, but they will one day see the glory that came from it. Keep pushing. Keep believing. Your story is not just for you. It's going to help someone else survive theirs. Miracles happen on the other side of I won't give up. That's where chains break. That's where healing comes. That's where doors open. You have no idea how close you might be. Some blessings only reveal themselves to the ones who endure to the end. Don't quit 5 minutes before your miracle. Don't walk away just because the wait is long. Your miracle is not behind you, it's ahead of you. Every step you take, every prayer you whisper, every tear you cry, is watering the seeds of breakthrough. Keep walking, keep believing, keep trusting. Miracles still happen for those who don't give up on God. God honors those who refuse to give up on what He promised. Heaven is watching, and God is not unjust to forget your labor, your tears, your faithfulness. If He spoke it, He will bring it to pass. It may not look like what you imagined, and it may not happen when you expected, but God's promises are yes and amen. Hold on. Don't let go. Your consistency is shaking things in the spirit realm. Your faithfulness is attracting favor, and your trust is pulling heaven into your situation. Don't just survive. Stand firm. Speak life. Declare victory. Trust God, and never quit, because the promise still stands, and the best is still yet to come. Delays are not denials. They're divine redirections. That phrase might sound like comfort when your heart is heavy with disappointment, but it's more than comfort. It's truth backed by eternity. There are times in life when you've prayed, fasted, believed, and done everything in your power to move forward, only to find yourself stuck in the waiting room of life. Doors that looked certain slammed shut. Opportunities you were confident about disappeared. People you thought would be with you forever walked away. It's in these moments that the enemy whispers lies. God forgot you. You're not good enough. You missed your chance. But let me tell you something. When you walk with God, there is no such thing as missed timing. There is only divine timing. God doesn't accidentally delay what's meant for you. He strategically orchestrates your life, so that what comes to you is not only right, but arrives at the exact moment it was destined to. His delays are never empty. They are full of preparation, protection, and purpose. You see, God is not just interested in your destination. He's deeply invested in your development. When He delays something, it's not because He's cruel or careless. It's because He loves you too much to release you into something you're not prepared to carry. A delay can save you from destruction. A delay can teach you patience, discipline, and reliance on Him. We often pray for promotion, but forget that promotion without preparation can become poison. What good is a breakthrough if it breaks you? So God in His mercy holds you back, not to harm you, but to form you. Just because something isn't happening now, doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It simply means God is building something in you that is more important than what you're asking for. He is cultivating your roots, so that when the blessing comes, you won't be shaken by the winds of pressure, pride, or unpreparedness. The delay is not the end, it's the classroom. Look back at your life. How many times did you cry over something that didn't work out, only to later thank God it didn't? You thought that job was for you. You thought that relationship was the one. You thought that move, that connection, that opportunity was your big break. But hindsight reveals what God was protecting you from. His redirection is always laced with mercy. What you viewed as rejection was divine protection. God shut the door not to hurt you, but to heal you. He didn't let it happen, because He knew what it would cost you long term. And the pain you felt in that moment wasn't the result of God abandoning you. It was the sign that He was involved, rerouting you towards something better. We serve a God who doesn't just answer prayers. He intervenes when we pray for the wrong things.